Welcome to the Family Home Podcast with Courtney and Michael Adamo. We've created this special mini-series to celebrate the launch of our new book, The Family Home. And over the next few weeks, we'll be diving into themes of the book, and we'll be talking to friends and experts about creating a thoughtful, happy family home.
Today, we're talking to Erin Boyle, a Brooklyn-based writer, photographer, and advocate for simple, sustainable living. She is the creator of the popular lifestyle blog Reading My Tea Leaves and her Substack Tea Notes, where she shares insights on intentional living, minimalism, and family life. Her first book, Simple Matters: Living with Less and Ending Up with More, offers practical guidance on small space living and conscious consumption. And last year, she co-authored the book Making Things: Finding Use, Meaning, and Satisfaction in Crafting Everyday Objects, a guide to crafting with focus on sustainability and creativity. It's a really beautiful book, which I have sitting here on my desk. Erin lives in a 1.5-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn with her husband and 3 young children. She has firsthand experience in maximizing small spaces, or at least embracing the restrictions that come with small spaces. And we are really excited to chat with her today. Welcome, Erin. Thank you so much for joining us today.
For having me.
Of course. I thought maybe we'd start and you could just describe what family life looks like for you in this current season.
Sure. So I have 3 little kids. My oldest just turned 11 this week. And my youngest is 5. And there's an 8-year-old in between. And so, yeah, I have one who's leaving the elementary school to go to middle school, which is like a big step for next year. And then my littlest will be joining her big brother at school. So it's, everyone's kind of like moving. They're in school all day and they're at after school. So they're kind of like out of the apartment for a lot of the like weekday life. And I'm in the apartment because I work from home. So it's kind of nice to have some quiet during the day. And my husband is a high school teacher. So he is also out of the apartment, but with kids who don't belong to us.
That's a brave and noble job, I always think. And you live in Brooklyn?
Yes. Yeah, we live in
a small apartment.
Yeah. Yeah, so we it's going on 15 years that we've lived in Brooklyn. We started here as a young couple in a 200 square foot apartment that we couldn't like stand up where our bed was. It was like in a like makeshift loft thing. And then we moved to a 1-bedroom before I had my first kid. And then in 2020 we moved there was like a tiny lull in the like pandemic craziness in New York, and we moved in September to this current apartment. So we've been here for almost 5 years. It's about 800 square feet. It's what's called a floor through apartment, which means it's like one floor of a brownstone, the kind of typical like Brooklyn townhouse that you might think of when you envision like street scenes of New York City. It's a floor through just means that like the apartment goes from like the street to the back. And actually it's kind of funny because the apartment that we were in right before this was exactly like half of this apartment. So we had just like the front part and not the back part. So this has been this kind of like expansion for us. And right now our landlord is selling the building. So we are searching for a new place to live. Reckoning with what it's like to be a family of 5 in a small space, and wondering if there's, our next place will be a smaller space, a bigger space, which seems unlikely. But yeah, we're trying to figure that out.
Well, you've I mean, obviously, you've always, well, for the last 15 years, lived in a small space, and you've got,
Yeah.
you know, three kids and a family. And you were the first to come to mind when we wanted to have this conversation around making the most of small spaces, because
Yeah.
I think you do it so well in that you have kind of, you've pared things down, you have exactly what you need and nothing more or less. And it kind of just feels like, yeah, like you really do make the most of a small space, because it's essentially it's a one bedroom plus. So you've kind of,
Yeah.
so your kids
So
are,
we kind of like crafted a bedroom in the middle of the apartment. So it's we get the like there's two doors, so you have to walk through our bedroom to get anywhere else in the apartment,
Right.
which is an adventure. And yeah, I think that it's really interesting for me to think, I'd say in the past, like however long, that basically I've been writing kind of publicly about life in a small apartment since moving to New York. And over that period of time, there's been like moments where, people will say like, oh, like an expert in like small space living or whatever, and it's like I really become, I feel like a little bit allergic to the phrase, because it's like, I don't know if that I'm an expert as much as like I'm living the experience, you know what I mean? And I think that that is something that I actually find it to be very comforting to think about it in that way, because you don't need to be an expert to do what we're doing. You just need to, it just is what you're doing, So like, I think that sometimes people, they talk about small spaces or our living spaces in general, like we have all sorts of like choice around it. And I think I mean, I don't know what it's like really around the world, but in my own experience, like in New York City and in the United States, like people's housing is often kind of like it happens to you rather than like something that you really are like able to like craft entirely. I mean, in the world of like shelter mags and stuff, like I think we see we see it as this kind of like, oh, this is something you can control and whatever. But so often it's like you are where you are. And so you have to kind of make of it what you can. And so, for me, like raising three kids in a relatively small space it's just kind of what we're doing. And so, it's all possible because we're doing it. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I think people wonder, they're like, oh no, how did you have, my kids have always shared a room ever since they were, I mean, when I only had one child, she did not share. Actually, she shared a room with us. It wasn't until actually she was, we were having a baby that we decided to move our bed in our old apartment into like what was really the living room and make the tiny bedroom the room for the two kids. So they've always, like, all of the kids have always been in this shared spaces. And, people are like, oh gosh, like, I don't know if I can do that. There's like a lot of like anxiety around shared spaces for kids, especially babies. And certainly now that I have an 11-year-old, like already I'm getting to like, there's anxiety that people are starting to voice around like teenagers, like especially like all different genders of kids in the same space. Like, oh my gosh, how's it going to happen? And my attitude is just kind of like, it happens, like it is, And so I don't know I'm different. And I've just kind of like decided to embrace it, because there's nothing like, what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know. I wish we could get to a space where that is like the conversation, like this, like it's possible. It's like it works because it has to. And I don't think that like I think my kids have like thrived being in small spaces together in a lot of ways. I mean, when I go, my parents live not too far away. They're in Connecticut, which is like a little bit further. They're about like 2 hours away by train, and we visit them a lot in the summertime. My parents still live in the house that I grew up in. I'm one of 4 kids. And the house is like not large, but it is, twice the size, a little bit more than this apartment. And when I'm there, I'm constantly like, oh my God, like I can't find anything, or I can't find stick, like all these like stupid things, like just there being stairs. Like, oh, not this again. Back up the stairs. Like it's so much more house to like deal with. And here, like I always know where my kids are. We're all kind of together. We're very used to like dealing with each other and each other's spaces. And like, yes, it is very nice. In this apartment, we do, although there are two sets of doors, there are doors in our bedrooms. So, like if if one of us is ill or like, we can like close doors, and that is very nice and a big change from being in a one bedroom where that was not possible. But it all like, even in the one bedroom, like we made it work because we had to. Yeah.
I mean, we can totally relate to if it makes you feel any better, we had a teenage girl and a teenage boy sharing a bedroom for, I think, 3 years.
Awesome. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you get the conversations like, oh, like teenagers sharing a room, and oh, a boy and a girl, and how do they have their own, privacy? And we were like, first of all, there's no and we live in a small house relative to the number of us, and again, like that's just the way it is. Like that's just
Right.
how it needs to work because there is no other option. And actually,
They made it work.
they are so close, and maybe they would have been close had they not shared a bedroom. But I also really believe in the upside or the benefits of
Bonds that are created when they share a room. Yeah. I mean, obviously, different kids and different, chemistry between them. But in our experience,
yeah.
our kids who have shared rooms have become really close with each other.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, that's so
compromise, and like, like one of them was a bit messier than the other. And so the messier one had to become, less messy, and the other one had to become a bit more tolerant of the mess. And
right.
when they would like make decisions about decor together and pick out their records for their record player. And, it was like, we witnessed all these kind of benefits of what that sharing was doing. Yeah.
Totally. I know it was funny the other day because, of course, we're in this apartment hunt, and the first question was, admittedly, does that mean are we gonna move? Does that mean we all get our own room? It's like your next life, like that's never, like you live in New York City, like that's not gonna happen. Oh, and but we were at the kitchen table and the question was posed, and then like 30 seconds later, my youngest got kind of like weepy at the table, and it was like, but I can't sleep in a room by myself. He's like totally bereft of like the idea that they're not be with siblings, and I think that's like, they're very used to it, and speaking of, actually, when we go to visit my mom and dad, often when we're there, some amount of other siblings and their children are also there. So it's like many, many, many people in a modest house. And we are very often in a like 10 by 10 bedroom, two of us in like a double bed.
Yeah.
And 3 children on the floor. Like they don't want to leave. Like they're just like in the little cocoon. So I mean, again, not that there's always space, but it is funny to see like they're totally adapted to it, like I think there's this, in movies or whatever, they see this idea of like, oh, especially like teenagers, having like their own like teenager room. I think that like lives like in the imagination a bit, but at the end of the day, like they fall asleep to each other's like breathing, like
I mean, we said the same thing. Our first 2 were in a bedroom from the time the second one was like 4 months old. We moved them basically out of our bed and into this room. And people used to say like, don't they wake each other up, and the crying of the baby and 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 they
loved it.
They loved it, and they just got totally. And then I think it makes them really flexible in terms of like, if you are traveling or visiting your mom's house and you've got to share rooms, and all of our kids, I mean, we've got our eldest is actually currently home and sleeping on the sofa because there's no bed for him anymore. And we all wake up in the morning and it's like the school rush, and people are fighting over whose hair elastic is whose, and and everyone's screaming, and I look and there's Easton Sam asleep on the sofa.
Amazing.
Clearly, he's used to the
Captain.
That's so good. Yeah, it is interesting. I think that especially like when you think about, I mean, I think this is true for younger kids. And again, like I might eat my words in whatever, 5 years or so when I have like full-blown teenagers. But the people ascribe like certain things to the space that are not necessarily the space. You know what I mean? Like some of it is just like having a baby is hard, like having two babies is hard, putting babies to sleep is hard. And so if there's like an option to be like, oh, it's like there's an external reason why this is hard, then like that becomes the thing that we can try to change.
Yes.
But I don't know, like in my experience,
It's
at
just
least,
still hard. Yeah.
yeah, and like putting babies to sleep, like I don't think it would have been, I don't think it was made difficult because they were in the same room. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they went to bed. They eventually got to.
We always said about that, like we read 3 picture books at one time, and that was it. You know, it's like we didn't have to go from room to room to room. Like they all went to sleep books, and
Yeah.
you know, there was like an ease to that actually.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting. I was just thinking about this picture book, big kid book thing the other day because so my youngest is 5. And like at the age when my oldest was 5, like certainly it was like all picture books all the time. But now Calder is like sitting in bed with me as I'm like reading a chapter book to like my 8-year-old, you know, and like she's happy. Like she's just
Happily
lying there, like listening, you know. It's like, yeah, I don't know. And everyone, like, you know, right now we're still in a phase, and this might change and we'll have to adapt, but like everyone goes to sleep at the same time too. Like, even though my oldest is 11 and my youngest is 5, it's like, you're all in the same room, lights out. So far, so good. And like, again, who knows? Will like morph and change as they get older. And, you know, we get less kind of like alone evening time as parents. I'm sure you can like give me good advice on that.
that definitely change it.
We go to bed. So
It's actually pretty annoying because they're awake. You're like wanting to go to sleep and be wanting to make out with each other, but you've got like
people walking up and down the hallway.
Oh my God.
it is annoying.
Yeah.
Like when they were littler and you could put them to bed and know they were asleep, that was a lot easier in like, yeah. But anyway, we've digressed. I wanted to ask you about how living in a small space can actually make you more organized and actually have systems in place for like where you store things and where things go and like even just like habits that you have daily.
Yeah.
So do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I am like by nature a very organized person and a like very tidy person. And thankfully, like for the most part, my kids are also, which is just helpful. And I should probably just acknowledge like that's probably just like genetic or hereditary or something. Like who knows like how that gets manifests. And I mean, certainly like all their children are not exactly the same. I should say, like, I feel like I can tell which of the 2 children went to Montessori nursery school and which not. But you know, there have to be systems. There's such limited space. Like there's no, you know, coat room. There's no like mud room. There's no like entrance. So it's like, okay, we have to have a spot to put all of our jackets and shoes upon entering the room that is the like dining room, living room, kitchen. Like, you know, like we have to like figure this out. And so you know, we do. And the kids are, you know, they are really good at like knowing like, okay, I come home, I unpack my backpack, I put my stupid heavy stainless steel lunchbox in the dishwasher, you know, like, do all of my little things. And like everything does have a place. And they also know, I think they have like really come to like, because they appreciate kind of like a tidy space, they actually really understand the like one thing in, one thing out. I mean, not that that's like a strict like formula that we use, but they actually like let go of their belongings very freely. Like they're not like crazily attached to things in the way that I feel like if they had more of their own space, they might be. They can like fill it up. I mean, they have their little collections and their little places to put things. they each have like a little cloth caddy that I've made that like lives near their bed, and so they can like put whatever like trinket is the like trinket du jour. They put it in the caddy and forget about it. But hey, there are systems, and there's just like necessity, like the three of them, three kids share one like small like I mean, it's probably double the size of this little wardrobe, but it's still like a piece of furniture that they put all clothes in, and like they like still like wrap them up into little like bins. And like, oh gosh, especially like my 8-year-old loves wearing hoodies now. That's like his that is. But like it's true that I don't know, they understand that that's kind of like what they have. And so yeah, I think that having like systems and just constraints in general, I think is helpful. Like saying like, this is the only place you have for your clothes, so you have to make choices about what you keep and what you're ready to part with. Or like, this is the little spot where you can keep your like birthday party trinkets, and if it's getting overflowing, then like you've got to pare it down, like there's nowhere else to put it. And I think that's honestly helpful no matter like the size of your space. Well, I mean, if you're someone, whatever, obviously if you love to like have an abundance of things around you, like go for it. Everyone should be able to like live their life however they want. But like for someone who appreciates kind of tidy or clutter-free spaces, like having constraints is really helpful.
And we definitely agree with that. Our kids each have a little wardrobe. Just more space than your three. As
Largely
what?
the size of the one literally shin.
It's the same one in, one out. Like it, there's only so much space in there for their clothing.
Yeah.
And, and also when we first moved here about 10 years ago, we discovered mold. Like we live in a hot, rainy, humid place, and we were so taken aback by it. Like the first year we were like, oh my God, everything was covered in mold. We had no idea. We weren't doing all the preventative things that people here know to do because we didn't. And we saw it as such a curse. We were like, this is so annoying. And actually, we've now come, like, it's still annoying. It's still annoying, but you cannot keep things that you're not using. If something gathers dust, it will become moldy. So that has become such a restriction for us. And actually so great because like
it's so freeing.
Like it's so freeing. Like you can't have like leather shoes in your closet that you're not wearing because they'll
be furry.
They'll be furry. Yeah. So
fascinating. Yeah.
And that has actually been like such a
it affects every decision you make.
Yeah, like
you just don't buy things because if we're not going to use it.
Yeah, or like instead of buying something that like we need like temporarily, or like the kids that camping stuff for a school camp. Like, like we'll just borrow it, or we'll go to the op shop and find it and just return it to the op shop. So not having it in our home.
Yeah,
I think sometimes those restrictions can be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that's certainly true. Like in closets are like notoriously absent from these apartments, and there's actually like there is a closet that's in the bedroom that they share, although they don't keep their clothes in it. We keep like everything else in it. It was like it was built like out of plywood to kind of like I don't even know. It's like not built into the wall. It's built like a little bit away from the wall. Whatever it is, it was like musty and disgusting when we moved in. The floor like still had carpeting that clearly the whole room had been like covered in this shag carpeting at some point. Then they built this plywood closet, ripped up the carpeting in the rest of the room, left the carpeting in there, and like just the inside, it was just disgusting. So I like ripped out the carpet. I tried to paint the whole thing, whatever it was. But like, yeah, when you only have like one closet to store, like, whatever it is, like Christmas decorations, like, all the things are in there. Like all the things we have are in that one closet. And so, yeah, it just like necessarily you only have what you need. And I'm very like, certainly like there's a large like storage industry, like where people rent like storage units and things. And that's like definitely like a hard line for me, like just no can do. And I think that too, it's just like, well, that's not a possibility. So something's got to give.
Yeah.
And I think also I should say that like, because I value so much like a calm and like uncluttered aesthetic, like I just like feel most like at peace in those environments. I also just like don't accumulate things that would have to otherwise be around. Like certainly there's more physical space in this apartment too. I could have like bookshelves on every wall, and there are things you could do to like fill your space with more stuff. But
Yeah.
for me, I haven't like, wanted to. And honestly, like not creating those spaces, like not putting in shelving or not whatever, buying more furniture or, it's so funny. Like we're so in this like real estate hunt that you see like clicking just through like listing after listing after listing of these apartments, and you see all the different ways that people live, and also just like the different ways places are laid out. And then very often in these apartments, there'll be like this large, like, IKEA, like wardrobe or something set up. And it's like, and it comes with the apartment. And I'm like, the first thing I think is like, nope, I'm going to ask them to get rid of that because I do not want that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think, there, like you said, there are ways to like maximize space, bookshelves to the ceiling or, lots of ways to, clever things. But I think it sounds like you've just really embraced that the restriction of small space and how that enables you to live a simple pared back life.
Right. Like there are all of these things, like you see in city apartments, like people will put like a shelf that goes like over the toilet so that there's like shelving, in the bathroom, or like shelving above like cabinets or pegboard on walls, and like all of that. In some cases, like when there's literally nothing else to like nowhere else to put your things, like great. But like for me, in like my tiny New York apartments, like I've never had any storage in the bathroom. I'm just like, oh well, there's no storage because if I put it in here, I'm gonna feel like crowded and whatever. So
okay, so then where do you keep your bathroom things?
Well, like towels go in hooks.
Yeah.
And then like there is like a medicine cabinet. So like brushes and toothpaste go in there. I'm not like a like real like makeup or like hair accessory person, so I don't have a lot of like that kind of stuff. I mean, again, like I bathroom. No, it's like who knows with like I have like I know my clock is ticking in terms of like teenager like needing, I don't know, God forbid, like straightening her hair or whatever. But like I don't know, we just like keep kind of like we have like hooks and then we have like one other little medicine cabinet that I put like, for toiletries.
Yeah. I mean, that's all what you need and nothing more. And how nice that must feel. I mean, there is something about that kind of emotional clutter. Like just, like I definitely, we have a little like tiny craft cupboard. And at the moment I know that it is messy in there. And and like,
this one behind me, this is my craft cabinet. It drives me, it honestly makes me crazy. I like, oh yeah, it's like I want it to be neat, but it's never as neat as I want it to be.
I know. And I think that's it. When you have creative kids, they're in and out. And like, that's the cupboard that needs the most maintenance all the time. And at the moment, I know it is a shit show in there. And, and it's in the back of my mind, like niggling me that needs to be organized, So there is something, I mean, or maybe it's just my personality, but I do think there is something about
maybe we're just revealing like deep psychosis.
But we need a bit of therapy. But I do, there is something about like clutter and how that takes space in your brain, surely. Like
yeah, I think so. And I think for kids too, like I think it's overwhelming, like just in terms of like their homework, like having like a folder where they keep their homework, they know where it is in their desk. They share like we found this like old school desk that they're gonna outgrow soon enough, but like it's a little school desk. It's like a double one.
Yeah.
And so they put like their little supplies in there, and like they just know where to go to. Like they know where their pencils are. They know where their homework folder is. They can like go and get it. And I think there's like some comfort in that kind of like routine. So they're not like not that it always ends up in that spot, but like generally the systems work. And so they're not being nagged at, and they can be kind of like self-sufficient. My middle kiddo is like particularly on top, like he's just like very on top of things in a way that I'm like, you really put me to shame. He's just like always like he's got his things like down. And so yeah, like it does give me like a little bit of like, pride or whatever to see like, oh, this actually works for him. Like this, having these systems, like he knows what to do and where to put things, and then he can recreate it. And he does, like he behaves in some ways. I'm not like trying to like make him, more like have like adult responsibilities or something, but like,
Yeah.
he's like very self-sufficient, and I don't know. I think it's nice for kids.
Very lucky.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened that I had 5 kids who didn't inherit my neuroses.
Well, believe me, I'm one of 4 sisters, and like 2 of us inherited my parents' neuroses and 2 did not. So like it takes all kinds,
And I got 5 who didn't. And I'm like, this is
Not true? Yeah, maybe.
it's true. There's not one. Yeah, anyway, that's a whole conversation for another time.
I have the stronger genes, obviously.
No, I think anyway. Thank you for talking to us and sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's so fun. I hope I like stayed enough on topic. Sorry, I'm such like
You
a
did,
random.
of course you did. This was the topic that we talked about. And it's always really nice to chat with you. Thank you.
It's so good to chat with you. It's so funny. Like you guys just left, like your kids all left, and I think I'm like
They're coming home.
I'm hearing on the sidewalk. We have like a family bike, and it's I feel like I just heard my little
They're like, please come home.
screaming down. So yeah, everyone's gonna tumbling back in.
Yeah, we'll let you go so they can all come home and have dinner and go to sleep. We sent our kids off to school this morning.
Good.
Again,
Well,
Erin.
thank you guys.
Yeah, take care.
Yeah, keep me posted on book stuff too, and I'm happy
I
to
will.
help
Thank you. Yeah,
shout it out. And however,
I'll send you a copy as soon as I can. I don't know how it works with like the US.
it'll be a while probably.
I so far have not been put in touch with the
The U.S. office.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But as soon as
Nice.
I can, I'll send you one. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Family Home Podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, we'd love for you to read our new book, The Family Home.
Our book is full of thoughtful and achievable ideas for real family life. From clever storage solutions and shared bedroom setups, to meaningful ways to display your children's artwork and how to make the most of small spaces. With stunning photography by our friend Amelia Rushforth, you'll see inspiring and thoughtful homes of all shapes and sizes, with so many ideas for creating a home that sparks imagination, encourages independence, and brings the whole family together.
You can click the link in the show notes for more information. We can't wait for you to read it.
Thank you.